Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and we're coming at you with another one of our Star Citizen videos. And what we're doing here is we're going to critique the social module in this video. Now, this is going to be a three-part series for Gamescom 2015, where we're going to do the social module, the FPS module, and also the live multi-ship demo that they did. Now, in this one right here, we have the some of the players they have on staff, some QA, messing around inside the social module. And as you can see, there will be a chat system right there on the right side. You can see it. There is local, which implies that there's going to be like maybe a team chat, maybe a squadron chat. Might also have like private chat, so that's all implied there. When you see local, that's normally when you chat, you can chat in the area that you're in. And I don't know how large that area is going to be. It might be the room, it might be within like 20 feet, it might, who knows. Well, what you can tell, this is from the Gamescom demo. This is the door that you would go through to go through customs, where inspection to see if you have your weapons, to see if you have any contraband, or if you're a criminal, to let you into the actual Arcor Area 18. And that's looking out to where you would come in. You would come in through these doors if your ship was to land outside on the landing pad, and looks like a freelancer is out there. And you would come in through these doors, and then you would go to the right where that yellow stripe is, and that's where the customs check. Press passport customs, right? And then you go into where the green light's shining, the area 18. I just want to make a kind of a comment here, and then it's showing your ship there. But the ship they have showing is a Constellation. So maybe that still needs to be worked on, because the ship that's outside and the ship that's landed is supposed to be the same. Okay, and as you go in, then you go open up into the Area 18s proper, that being the hotel there, and then you've got like Cubby Blast on the left. And okay, but we'll get into that as they go and visit each of these areas. But something I wanted to say, the graphics level right now, and remember, it's still not a finished product. Look at the water reflections, the water, that looks awesome. Okay, that is just incredibly awesome. That's augmented reality right there. That is basically using your Mobi-Glass to kind of clue you in on who different people are as you point at them, items, vehicles, weapons, gear, all that stuff, doors. Who knows? It might, it's going to help you. It's like a heads-up display, a HUD, as you would. Now, you can turn that off if you don't like it. Okay, so notice how the point of the weapons, it tells you exactly what it is and how much they cost, and then you turn it off, or you turn it back on. And it's not fully stocked or inventoried and everything. Excuse me. But the point that I'm just trying to make just a moment ago is, in an MMO, and we're going to call this an MMO, even though it's kind of a sandbox slash MMO slash first-person shooter slash flight sim, and and economy simulator, blah blah blah. That's basically what an MMO is. So multiplayer, massive online game, right? That's really what this thing is. Okay, now I've played other MMOs, and we're just looking at the Arc Core zone. So when you are flying through space and you land on Arc Core, you will go to this landing zone, and you will cruise around to the half a dozen shops and get into maybe half a dozen different shady areas. Okay, this guy is now going into, what was this, the hospital? Yeah, and you can actually buy your medical gear. You can get medical aid here. It's probably going to be populated with nurses and doctors, and then you can like purchase like med kits and more drugs and all that good stuff. Okay, but to continue what I was saying was, I play all these other games, or I have played these other games. I'm really looking forward to Star Citizen. The zone, Arc Core 18. If this is kind of the basis of what all the zones are going to look like, the graphics is awesome. They did a really good job building the zones. And imagine, okay, let me back up. I play other MMOs, and the zones are 100 times bigger than this. This zone is the size of what I would call an instance. This is the size of a zone of a mission. Like if I was playing Champions, or if I was playing City of Heroes, or if I was playing Lord of the Rings, or if I was playing uh, Warhammer, or any of these other MMOs that I've played, Conan, or any of them, the zones you walk around in are huge, are gigantic. But then when you enter a dungeon, or if you go into a warehouse or a theater or whatever you go into, then that becomes about the same size as this zone. Instance. We'll call it an instance. Okay. And that's so my initial impression was this is the job well, first of all. This is where you go to get all your jobs, get hired, find out who needs cargo transported, and things like that. Okay, so we're going to the next one, which is probably Glock, which is G-Lock, which is a bar. Okay, but that it took me a moment. It took me a while because initially I was upset about this. I was like, man, this zone sucks. It's so small. But then I thought about it. And if I treat this zone as an instance, this is an instance that you go in and you have little adventures in. And there's the dance floor. And if you dance in first person, your head bobs. Notice, see that? He's dancing. They need to maybe stabilize that or something. But okay. But in social modules like this, you're probably going to be allowed third person, and you don't need to be first person like that. So, okay. Because that'll get you sick. Okay, so, and they say that this is just one of the different worlds. Now, I thought about this, and I said, okay, they've mentioned that there's going to be over 100 systems, with new systems being added every month. There's an alleyway here. He actually went down one of the alleyways. This is one of the alleyways that you might find a shady pirate type who's selling drugs or contraband weapons or something back here. And look at the attention to the detail of the trash and stuff. I thought that was really cool. And there's also supposed to be like bars and chop shops and stuff like that. And there's the incinerator right there. That you could find in the back alleyways. And I was like, okay, that's cool. That's you got to have that because there's those types of players that need that kind of stuff. And then there's like back doors, alleyways to different, like the hotel and things like that. And I think he said around the corner there is like a bar, but it's more like a speakeasy and less like a traditional bar. But okay, back to my my rant, my soapbox. Okay, so I had to have a paradigm shift of how I was thinking because I was relating these planet side locations as the same as the large area in an MMO, and that is not correct because the large areas of this MMO is the space between landing zones, right? Your asteroid fields, the planet travel from planet to planet, the system travel from system to system. That is this game's large areas. These planet side locations are just that, locations. They're instances. He's going into Astro Armada. That's where you would go and buy a ship. And he made this clear that not every ship is going to be available, or every weapon is not going to be available at every planet. You will have to shop. You will have to go from planet to planet. Sometimes the prices are going to be different. Sometimes availability is going to be different. Like this shop probably has the M50 because it's on display, but another shop might not have that. Look at the reflections on the polished floors, and this place is clean as opposed to some of these other shops. So each one has its unique feel. I like that too. Okay, so with my shift of thinking, then that's fine. This zone is an instance. Would be a warehouse that I go into, or this would be the hotel that I go into with all the shops in it or whatever. And the area between planetside locations would be the world in a regular fantasy type MMO. Okay, so having thought that, I thought about it, and I just put this in the back, put this in your head. There's going to be over 100 worlds created for the initial release, actually, of Star Citizen. Over 100, not worlds, systems, 100 systems. They said that in each system, the average number of worlds that you could land on would be about 4. Some will have less, some will have more. So 4 would be the average. So that's 400 worlds. He said that on each world, there's going to be an average of about 3 landing zones. Some will have less, some will have more. So with an average of 3 landing zones on 4 worlds in 100 systems, that's 1,200 planet-side location landing zones. Wow, that's a lot. And if they can do them all, there's Dumper's Depot. There we go. He's in the side alley. This is the heavy, so he's running a little slower in his armor there. If you have 1,200 zones, and if they're all done with this level of detail, and I understand they're making assets that they can be reused, but they also said there's going to be every location is going to be handmade or tweaked to make it feel right and things like that. So there's a lot of work for those planet-side locations. Plus, there's going to be space-side locations, like space stations and asteroid fields and all that stuff too. So I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed. Initially, I was disappointed because of the size of this zone. I was like, man, this zone's not that big. There's only like 6 shops, and you try to put 200 players in this thing, it's going to be crowded. But then again, I thought about it. If you put 200 players in here, it'll look right. You'll have like 10 players per shop. That's 10 people walking around in a store. That seems reasonable to me. All right, well, thanks for coming out and checking out that social module preview. And come check out the next video. It's going to be on the multiplayer demo. Or I should say the multi-crew ship demo.